Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Spec Esports, here with me, Gio Maldonado, bringing you the best in online esports racing here at the Formula 1 2019 game. I'm very excited to bring you this action live from the Chinese Grand Prix, and what a prospect we have in store with 17 drivers here making the grade here for tonight's race around the Shanghai circuit. This circuit famous and synonymous with F1 like many are, and surely will throw up some thrills and spills as we start to head into the evening. This 200,000 capacity circuit was formed and opened back in 2004 with a construction cost of 2.6 billion yen, which equals to $450 million or 370 million euros. I won't work out what that is in pounds sterling because we're going to be in for a long stream otherwise, but I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to the stream. I can see we've got a very busy chat window here this evening. I hope you're all having a good night. Just to go through the championship standings so far. The Provenza, after his third place finish last time out, he currently sees himself in P1 of the championship, and he's doing extremely well to do what he's doing. Sorry, just lost the table there. In second place is obviously S1 LV Silver, should we say. He's currently in P2 in the championship. And Yellozy, after winning at Bahrain, has managed to march himself right up to P3, so hoping to do really well here for his team as he makes his way up. Seb in the Williams in P4 as well, so lots in store here this evening. It'll be interesting to see what these guys can bring as we make our way through the Chinese Grand Prix. It's going to be a very fascinating encounter, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm very looking forward to seeing where it takes us. So we'll just join the drivers now because I believe they're just about to get underway here at the Shanghai circuit, and very soon we'll be bringing you all the action here at Shanghai. But it's all to play for, as you all know, and anyone can win it, certainly on the day, as we look forward to the race here this evening. We'll go through each of the drivers. It looks like it's going to be a wet weather track here today. So that could upset a few of the apple carts, no doubt. And very much looking forward to what these guys can post. And obviously in these tricky conditions, it can, like we said before, throw up a few upsets. But we have got over 18 minutes of qualifying ahead of us. So plenty of time for drivers to really prove their mettle here at the Shanghai circuit. Very much looking forward to seeing what these guys can do here around the twisting bends of Shanghai. But just looking around, Angelosi still yet to come out. We're just waiting for the first of the drivers just to exit the pit lane. Just fishing through to see who's going to be the first to leave, who's going to brave it here, or we're going to see them wait a little bit until the weather dies down a bit. But looking now, it looks like the Alfa Romeo is first to leave. Cabby in the Alfa first to leave the track, and already you could see him slipping and sliding around that first bend there. Obviously very treacherous around that first corner. You want to be very careful, and you almost have to turn back on yourself because you go around turn 3, and it's very similar to turn 1. You know, it's a very awkward right-hander, and then you're met with a very tricky left-hander of turn 3, but he makes his way down towards turn 4. In these wet weather conditions, this circuit, very, very tricky. You've got to be extremely careful as you negotiate your way around the track, and without a shadow of a doubt, these guys are going to be doing their absolute best to maintain their positions on the circuit. At least they won't have to brave that dodgy left-hander of Bahrain like they had to last week, so I'm sure they'll be happy with that as we watch Cabby make his way around the right-hander. This is almost like another twisted section. You've got to be very careful when you negotiate around here because you can very easily go off the side of the curve there if you don't acquire your pace good enough as such. So you've got to be extremely careful, negotiate your way around this track like we keep saying. Just to give you a bit of, furthermore facts and figures, the circuit length of this circuit is 5.451 kilometres. That equals 3.387 miles, and they'll have to negotiate their way around these corners. Usually in a full lap race, this would equal 56 laps, but obviously we will not be doing that here at Race Tech Esports. And just to give you some real facts and figures at this 16-turn circuit, Valtteri Bottas picked up pole position in 2019's edition of the race here at Shanghai, and then Lewis Hamilton winning the eventual race with Valtteri Bottas completing a 1-2 for Mercedes, and Sebastian Vettel picking up P3 for the Ferrari team. Incidentally, a bit of a fun fact for you again, Pierre Gasly got fastest lap around that race with a 1 minute 34.742. Says a bit of useless information for you. Pierre Gasly, incidentally, not having a terrible season last year, despite his early struggles with Red Bull. As we watch Cabby come round the first right-hander here, let's see what he can do. We've got a few drivers out on track now, quite a few on their out laps. I am Tucono, the defending champion this year, back in the Mercedes seat again. Will surely be looking to rectify the damage done in the last race. Didn't find himself at the classifications at the end of the race where he wanted to be, and I'm sure he'd be looking to rectify the situation here today at the Shanghai circuit as we watch Cabby make his way up towards this next left-hand bend. He's taking it extremely steady, and who can blame him? Just incidentally, looks like we got another car surging up behind him. I'm not sure whether it's spun off, but it seems to have almost aggressively dropped back. Oh no, there it is. It's the McLaren. I'm not sure whether that's... it's not Viva Provenza because he's still in the pit. It's Sufinio. Sufinio 2005. Out on his fast lap as well. And as we watch Cabby negotiate his way around the... Oh, and he's come off the track. He's come off the track. That's cost him time. And I think also that might have scuppered Sufinio's time as well. Although I think he might have slowed down for different reasons. As we see Cabby go by there. Not having the easiest of times on this circuit. We're just looking further up. I am Tucono. He's currently out on his fast lap as well. You can see these drivers really struggling to negotiate these wet weather conditions around this circuit. It really does put a sort of a stick in the spoke, if you like, of this qualifying session. It's going to really throw up some interesting encounters, and surely it's going to be whoever's bravest. And looking further up, we can also see Angiolosi's out on his fast lap as well. Now, Angiolosi, incidentally, the race winner on our last event is Hun Benjamin and Sufinio go across the line. So Sufinio posts a 1:46.779. Still early doors here, but he's already just under 2 seconds faster than Hun Benjamin and Noko. As Disconnected comes across the line with a 1:49.194. As I am Tucono posts a 1:46.882. Not good enough. As DJ McCooley, they're all coming in now. And we'll follow Angiolosi. What's he going to get as he comes around towards the final bend? Is he going to do? Yeah, it will provide us with more magical moments like he did at Bahrain as he comes up across the line initially on his first lap. Yes, he goes P1 with a 1:45.982. Totally slaughters the other ones behind him. Well, not totally slaughters. I mean, there's obviously half a second separating the likes of DJ Mugli, the Racing Point driver, who is only, as I said before, half a second behind him. So still plenty of times to be had here as we reach the 12.5 minutes mark of this qualifying session. Just looking further down the grid. Obviously, these guys now posted their times. Are going to be on their down laps there as Gabo Master comes down here in the Haas, making his way towards the final hairpin bend. There in that multicoloured striped helmet. Will he be able to post a nice fast lap here for the Haas team? Haas, incidentally, not doing too bad here. Gabo Master, oh, and he's coming into the pits. Not happening for him just yet. Gabo still yet to score any points this season, and I'm sure he'll be looking to rectify that. His teammate, however, Marco NC, managing to get 4 points on the board this season already, and sees himself 36 points behind V Provenza, who's currently our championship leader. But Angiolosi still leading the way here in qualifying. Sun Benjamin comes in as well, obviously to rethink his strategy. Angiolosi, I think he's looking to set another lap very, very shortly. Just looking now. Obviously in wet weather you can get away with longer stints out in qualifying. As we come down to the final 11 minutes here, we're now reaching the final 10. We'll soon be in the single digits of time remaining here in qualifying. Incidentally, Shanghai, only a circuit, like I said before, in 2004. So one of the, I wouldn't say the most modern track, but one of the more modern tracks as Angiolosi comes in the pits, obviously to have a rethink as well. Maybe these guys think the track might be drying up a bit slightly, might be prospects for a little bit of change here. As we watch Angiolosi come into the pit lane after securing his first lap. Just looking out there, Cabby is also out on his out lap. I think he's going to have another attempt. And Naples, who's out for the Toro Rosso, he's about to come round the hairpin, about to commence his first lap of qualifying. Toro Rosso here making his way around. Nope, he's going to pit this time. Naples not ready to set a time. And we'll just look further up now. Noko is incidentally on his lap. I think this must be another fast lap as he makes his way around the fast sector. And I've got a feeling now, because the track's starting to dry up, I think the intermediates are going to start becoming less and less effective, because I think these drivers are going in to eventually change onto maybe the medium tyre. Who's to know? We could be seeing that. Angiolosi went into the pits for a reason. With 10 minutes remaining, these drivers obviously keeping an eye on where the weather's going to go here in the final 10 minutes of qualifying. Just having a look now, going through the chat window. I see we've got lots of people here on the chat. Great to hear from you, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Butcher's joined, Chandler Scott. Alex is there on chat as well. We've got the likes of Xspirit, how you doing tonight? Hope you're good. The Vicious Void, welcome to the stream. Alberto Finessi, welcome to the stream as well. So we've got a nice collection of people here currently in our stream window. It looks like everyone's in the pits now, obviously waiting to see what happens to the weather. So we're bracing with anticipation here to see what happens here during this qualifying session. Will we be seeing better conditions here, and will we be seeing drivers opting for the different tyres? Notice that V Provenza is yet to come out and set a lap. No doubt he's looking at the clouds and waiting to see what the weather will bring us. But Angiolosi's still holding the advantage here in P1 on the intermediates. Hun Benjamin going out for another stint. He's on his out lap as he makes his way around the next left-hander, which is a very, very stiff left-hander. Got to try and keep your car on the track there as best as possible in the Toro Rosso. Of course, Toro Rosso soon to be renamed. Very, very soon. Obviously, that'll be coming up now next season. And you can never count out Toro Rosso. Certainly in official racing, they are known to have a great history when it comes to bringing new drivers in. Obviously, Sebastian Vettel being one of the first. Being a race winner and later on a world champion. So can Hun Benjamin continue the glory days of Toro Rosso as he makes his way up towards the next chicane bend? And incidentally, he's out, according to my screens, out on the soft tyres. So my telemetry isn't that correct at this stage. So I'm guessing a lot of these drivers have opted for the faster compounds. So obviously we'll have to do our very best here with what we've got. As they make their way down now, we're just watching the Toro Rosso of Hun Benjamin making his way towards the next right-hand hairpin as he comes up towards the final bend. And what's the Toro Rosso going to be able to post here now as he ends up on his fastest lap? What's going to happen here? Are we going to be seeing some real quick times here as they make their way around the first curve? It's a very, very, very stiff right-hand bend. So you want to take it as best as you can as he makes his way around the left hand. And he'll soon be met with another little quick right-hander and then be headed with another 90-degree angle curve. I'd say this is more like another hairpin, to be honest with you. It may as well be as he makes his way heading down towards the quick left yet again. Lucas Gambrini, incidentally, he's in P5. And Lucas obviously looking to improve his prospects after finishing in the points previously. He currently has 1 point in the championship. He'll obviously be looking for more. And the fact that he's faster on the intermediates is showing good promise there for the Renault driver. And I'm sure he'll be looking to improve that as we watch the Toro Rosso heading up towards the chicane bend now. So these drivers now don't have a lot of time left to field faster laps as they make their way. Well, as we follow the Toro Rosso making his way around the very long right-hand bend. The Toro Rosso bombing it down the straight now, and he's about to open up the DRS because DRS is now active and he punches it, heading down the straight. What's it going to be here for Hun Benjamin? Is it going to be glory for the Toro Rosso as they make their way down, breaking at the 100, coming over the hairpin, and he comes out of it smelling of roses now, heading up towards the next left-hander. What's it going to be? These soft tyres, are they going to make a difference as he comes around the final bend? The DRS loading up, punches again. What's it going to be for the Toro Rosso? It's P1, and he's shaven nearly 11 seconds off the time, and that goes to show it is a soft tyre track right now. So one of these guys is going to be posting later on into this qualifying session. We're down to nearly the last 5 minutes. Very soon we'll be entering squeaky bum time of qualifying, and this is when the drivers will want to throw everything but the kitchen sink at these lap times and try and knuckle their way into the top spots here at Race Spec Esports. As Trevino goes fastest with a 133.110 and knocks off over a second of Hun Benjamin's time. Naples moves into P2. Hun Benjamin dropping down now as Toro Rosso compatriot moves into P3. DJ Mowgli in the Racing Point getting a 133.072, and we're still yet to see anything from Angiolosi. V prevents is still yet to pit. I think they're going to leave it to the last minute. Don't forget Silver as well, who came P2 at Bahrain. So we've got all those drivers still yet to post times. It's going to be really, really exciting, ladies and gentlemen. As we watch DJ Mowgli on his cool-down lap, just looking further down. I am Tucono out and about on the softs as well. What's the former champion, well, the current world champion, going to say about all this as he makes his way down? Round towards the right-hand side. And the Silver Arrow's looking to install his first real lap time on the soft tyres as he comes round. Incidentally, not that quick over the intermediates. Naples, incidentally, doing his lap time on the mediums, managing to get a 1:33.868, so not bad at all from him. And I am Tucono on the softs, obviously looking to improve on recent performances. He is currently in P6 of the championship with 18 points. He's only 22 off the top spot, so he's still about. So you've got to think that one race win should bring him back into title contention once again. Remember, we're only 3 races in here in the Race Spec Esports series. And so it's very early doors. Anything can happen, as they say, as he comes up towards the next hairpin bend. What's it going to be for IM2 Kono? Instantly, V Provenza is now out on an outlap. And looking further down, Angiolosi is also on an outlap. And it looks like IM2 Kono is coming back in the pit lane. He's not happy with that. And Angiolosi out on his outlap. Like I said before, V Provenza is on his fast lap. So let's keep an eye on V Provenza because this will be his first lap of the session. So very much looking forward to seeing what this guy can pull off with here as they make their way. Well, as the McLaren makes his way around that bend, heading towards yet another right, little kink in the right-hand side. He'll come towards the 90-degree right-hander now. And you have to be very careful under brake and also on the power as he makes his way towards the swinging left-hand bend. And you can see his teammate Chafinio, who's AIing at the moment, just above him. I hope that didn't affect him too much as he makes his way around the next swinging right-hander. And you'll have this tricky one to judge as well, which is coming around turn 10. So you'll soon be met now with turn 11, which is almost like a semi-chicane, really, as you make your way around. And as he does so, reaches it, comes around to turn 12, and you'll soon be met with the long straight, which will be the last real major straight before you enter the home straight. And this is where you'll get the DRS here in the race, and as you can see, it's loading up at the bottom right of your screens as he comes across the line and punches the DRS. It goes green, and he storms down this long straight here on the medium tyres, comes around, brakes very well down the straight, heading out of the corner, the exit. Done extremely well here by V Provenza. He comes up towards the last bend. What's it going to be for the McLaren driver? Is it going to be glory once again for this one? As he comes up towards the line with 2 minutes left to go. And he goes P1 with a 1:32.296. And he scratches 0.8 of a second off DJ Mowgli's time. A great lap time there from V Provenza. And he sticks himself on pole. And surely that'll put the pressure on the boys down below, because we've still got drivers that have still yet to field laps, including Marco Lomi and the Dart Champion, the 2 Ferraris, still yet to field a time. The Dart Champion just about to come across the line now, and here goes P6 with a 1:33.898. The prancing horse getting into the top 6 here, and surely you'd be happy with that just initially, because anything can happen at turn 1, certainly when the race starts. And I look forward to seeing what this Ferrari driver can certainly do as he makes his way around that right and left-hander. Very tricky part of the circuit, but obviously he's on his cool-down lap, so it's all good, he says. And as you can see, Silver in the Red Bull, looking to notch his first time in. He's on an outlap right now, and he'll soon be kicking off. Angiolosi, who's now coming towards the end of his fast lap. And as you can see, he's got his teammate Cabby just ahead of him. Are they making use of the slipstream here as they come across? And I think he does so. Very well done from Angiolosi. Good teamwork from the 2 Alfa Romeos as they make their way down towards the hairpin bend. And uses those medium tyres. Hopefully, if he can get pole and tackle V Provenza, we could be on for a major battle here at China as they make his way around the final bend. Is it going to be a win? Is it going to happen here? Angiolosi goes pole with a 1:32.112, and he puts himself on P1, front row of the grid. We're going to be in for another battle between V Provenza and Angiolosi. Reignite the fire of Bahrain here at China. I'm looking forward to it, ladies and gentlemen. But it still remains 20 seconds left, and we've still got Cabby and many others actually saying that, who are about to finish their faster laps. So as we look down, Cabby, he's on his fast lap. Marco Lomi making his way around the circuit as well. So there's still a lot of questions being thrown up. And Silver's come off. So unfortunately, Silver could end up starting at the back here because I don't think he can field another time. And therefore, the Red Bull at this stage is starting at the back of the grid. Silver, who was P2 at Bahrain, this time is going to be felt with the uphill task of starting from the back of the grid. Just looking, we've had some retirees. We got the McLaren of Chifino starting in P4. We got Pitt in the Williams starting in P9. That's at least for now, without Marco Lomi and Cabby fielding their times just yet, as Cabby's about to make his way down the long straight. We're just watching Marco Lomi as he makes his way around the last hairpin, heading towards the final bend. And what will he be able to post here on the soft tyres? Surely he's got to be up there with the others on the softs. He makes his way around. This time looks real quick as he comes up. Is it going to be goal for the prancing horses? P3! And the Ferrari driver moves into P3 as Naples goes P1! Naples goes P1 for Toro Rosso! And the way things are going, he's going to be P1 by the time the race comes round. It's a phenomenal effort there from Naples to snatch that at the death. We are now in 2 minutes of extra time remaining here at qualifying, and the Toro Rosso of Naples has landed himself right on top spot. What a great lap there from him. The Raging Bull striking again with Angulosi in P2, and V Provenza managing to improve and put the McLaren on P2, so he'll join Naples on the front row of the grid. Angulosi at this rate will be on the second row in P3. Joining him on row 2 will be Mowgli as well. But what a phenomenal qualifying session we've had this evening, and that looks like that's going to be your classifications for this evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all enjoyed that in that qualifying session. It's been absolutely phenomenal. Lots of activity, everybody, and I've got to say, some real shockers. I want to see your comments in the chat and what's happening, folks. I want to see what you guys think is going to win this Grand Prix here today. Surely it's going to be flooded with excitement as we go through the classifications. Naples takes P1 here with a great qualifying lap of 131.191 for Toro Rosso. V Provenza P2, Angulosi P3, DJ Mowgli P4, I Am Tucono P5, Noko P6, Marco Lomi P7, Chufino P8, Cabby P9, Lucas Gambarini P10 for Renault, Gabo Master P11, Marco 12, Disconnected P13, Hun Benjamin P14, P15 for the Dark Champion, Pitt in P16, and unfortunately Silver, who came second at Bahrain, the Raging Bull, is on P17. So what a qualifying session we have had here at China. Lots in store for the race, and I hope that you guys are really looking forward to what this may bring here as we head into the race here at China. The Shanghai circuit is certainly going to be flooded with excitement with what's about to occur here on circuit. I hope you're all enjoying yourself. I hope you're all having a good night. And it looks like it's going to be a wet race. Or is it going to stay dry? I'm being told in the chat it looks like it might be a wet race, but hopefully not. Just looking at it on paper, to me, it looks like we're going to be in for a... Might be in for a wet contest here. We just have to keep an eye out for it. As the session's about to start here, we will follow the drivers as they make their way around the grid. And out they go on their formation lap. And surely it'd be great to see what these drivers have in store for us here today. I mean, saying that, actually, I think they started the race. Unbelievable. I thought there would be a formation lap, but no. Naples has led the way, and I Am Tucono in P2, Angulosi P3. So already some dramatic, interesting turns here in the start of this Grand Prix as they make their way around now. So Naples in P1, looking further down. I Am Tucono, Angulosi, a break with these three, currently leading their way down towards the next bend. They got Lucas Gambarini there in P5, Cabby in P6, and Cabby having a fight incidentally with Chifino, and these two are going toe-to-toe as they make their way towards the next left-hand bend. A lot of battling here in this race already as Cabby tries to defend himself and his P6 position as they come around the next left, and the Alfa Romeo certainly under the stiff task of trying to hold off the McLaren as they make their way around towards the next straight, leading towards the chicane. And already we're seeing the cars start to draw out some gaps as Lucas Gambarini in P5 is 2 seconds away from DJ Mowgli, So there is a gap between the top 5 and the 6, and well, between P5 and P6. So those are your two groups. Just looking further down, Marco NC eyeing up Hun Benjamin as they make their way down the main straight, and you can see the Haas have a little look down the outside. Also Cabby, I think, or was it Angiolosi having a move down the inside and taking P2? Great move from him as they make their way towards the next straight, and you can see the racing point of DJ Mowgli coming into play as well as they come round towards the home straight. Looking down now, so it's still Naples in P1 for Toro Rosso. Looking further up, we've got Angiolosi to make their way round turn 1, which is the swinging right-hander, and Naples drawing out a lead of 1.2 seconds so far. I am Tucono in the mix as well, the current world champion in P3, only 0.4 of a second behind Angiolosi in the Alfa Romeo, and looking further down, DJ Mowgli there in P4, but as they make their way towards the next right-hand bend, it's still, like I said before, Naples in front, Angiolosi P2, I am Tucono in close proximity in P3, looking for that crucial move to send him into that P2 spot. DJ Mowgli just watching it all unfold here in the racing point. Just looking further down, I think the closest to the bar, we got V Provenza, incidentally, having a miserable start, starting in P13. He finds himself behind Pitty. I'm not sure whether the lack of a formation lap actually took him off guard as Pitt nearly running into the front of that McLaren. It got very, very close as they make their way around the next couple of left-handers, and Pitt going wheel to wheel here with V Provenza, and V Provenza comes up. Is he going to manage to do the overtake here at the chicane? Is he? He's going for it. Very, very demanding, aggressive move there as the racing point goes in, and very, very aggressive there from that Pink Panther, having a look down the inside of that McLaren. Not the wisest of moves there from Noco, and surely that might cost him as they head down the straight now. And looking at V Provenza, it looks like he's trying to surge up, but Silva incidentally moving up into P8, already throwing his weight around on track after being qualifying at the back of the grid as the Toro Rosso of Silva tries to tries to fight back at the Red Bull of Silva as they make their way down the straight. Just looking further up, looking further down, Noco in P13 just behind V Provenza, just tracking the McLaren there. Obviously not wanting to let him go, but there is a gap increase of around about 0.6 now between the two drivers, but I'm sure these two will be battling it out as V Provenza goes a little bit wide out at turn 2 and 3. So just looking further up the grid now, let's catch up with our race leader Naples, who's currently showing in P1 as before after his impressive qualifying stint. However, he has got a string of medium tyres behind him with Ps 2, 3, 4 and 5 opt-in for that medium compound in qualifying, and therefore obviously they'll be able to last a little bit longer initially out on circuits. They make their way around the next couple of left-hand bends. Naples still holding the fort really for Toro Rosso as they make their way around towards the chicane, and they'll soon be met with the sweeping right-hander before the straight here. And at the moment, we're just looking further down. Silva, it looks like, is managed to overtake Chafinio, because Chafinio was having a look down the inside to try and regain his position. But it means that Silva has moved into P7, and surely he'd be happy with that as he makes his way or surges up on the racing point of DJ Mowgli, who's held his own in P6 for now. But Cabby, I think, has managed to overtake him as the DRS opens up for Silva. Incidentally, opens up on this lap. Does DRS and the Red Bull going down the outside of the racing point. What a move that could be as they made their way towards the semi-straight, towards the final bend, and the Red Bull overtakes DJ Mowgli. What a move there from Silva, who moves out to P6. He is definitely a dangerous man to watch after qualifying at the back of the grid after failing to put a lap together. He came P2 last week in Bahrain, and already showing all the skills that he possesses to move his way up the field, and he's already gained on the Alfa Romeo of Cabby, and these two are getting real tight, and so's the racing point of DJ Mowgli. We've got a three-way tie here as they make their way around the next few bends. Lucas Gambarini is certainly having a great race, finds himself in P4, so he's doing extremely well to hold his position here, and excellent racing from all of these drivers who are making their way around. Just looking further back at the moment, to Silva, TJ Mowgli on those softs getting close, but Cabby and Silva gunning for it like a couple of wild dogs as they make their way around the right hand bend. The Red Bull surging on the outside, and he cuts back in. This time gets him. What a move there from the Red Bull, and he's going to take the tour. Oh my god, the Alpha's gone. We've lost Cabby. Cabby spinning out there after contact with Silva, and Silva has capitalised there and taken P5. He did extremely well to keep the car on the track as the Alfa Romeo lost traction after going off the track, and nearly taking out Silver, who was very lucky. I've got to say, to hold his position as IM2Kono has taken P1, the championship, the world champion, retaking P1 back onto his spotlight like he likes to be. There in the silver arrows of the Mercedes as he makes his way down towards the home straight, and he will start lap 5 in front of this Grand Prix. Absolutely amazing scenes. We look further down, Chafinho fighting it out with Hun Benjamin. Hun Benjamin incidentally going down a place after the McLaren manages to rise above him. But Hun Benjamin has DRS this time as they make their way round towards turn 1. And the Toro Rosso going extremely wide there. But whether he can get the cut back, I don't know. And Silver's off! Silver's off! I did not see that! I did not see that. And Silver, who was looking extremely promising going around the circuit, has dropped back to P12 and he's retired from the session. So we've lost Silver. The man who was P2 at Bahrain is out of the Grand Prix here at China and therefore will not be competing any further. And we have yellow flags now in Sector 1 as a result. What could that mean for Red Bull's chances here today with only... well, that's Red Bull's chances pretty much sewn up, I'd say, because Silver was their only driver in this race today. So no points today for the Red Bull team. And that gives the McLarens a bit of hope here because now they can reclaim the positions that they lost. V Preventer can now start moving forward. Incidentally, Silver was having an archaic battle with Angiolosi at Bahrain last week, which I had the delight of commentating on. Angiolosi coming off on top, though, albeit there was a penalties decision at the end of the race. But nonetheless, it is IM2Kono, the world champion, who now stretches his lead up to 1.2 seconds, though Naples is still there, and he's not gone yet as they make their way towards the last bend. Noko and Chafinho having a bit of a tussle themselves. They come around the final hairpin, and the Racing Point, unfortunately, unable to capitalise. They come round, he loses a bit of shape as well, but the McLaren of Chafinho holds P7 to allow McLaren to stay in P6 and 7 in this race so far. Cabby, incidentally, trying to recover after his instance earlier on, overtakes the Ferrari of Marco Lomi. Marco Lomi, incidentally, diving into the pit lane. I'm not sure whether he sustained damage. The Dart champion even further back on the hard tyres, obviously had a stop already. But just looking further up the grid, Cabby is still chasing or gunning for the Haas of Gabo Master as they make their way around turn 1. And Gabo Master spinning, and he takes out the Alpha. Any damage here, I do not know, but it forces Cabby off the track. And therefore, he has lost a lot of time going around the first few bends, and he's got a lot to make up for. Gabo, obviously losing a lot more time after coming off the track, has got to recover somehow and try and pull out all the stops to come back into the race as Marco Lomi comes out on the hard tyres. The two Ferraris not having the best of starts here, already opting for that harder tyre strategy to try and see how long they can go on for. Obviously, you'd expect them to go on till the end of the race on that compound, but looking further up the grid, Cabby incidentally having a go here with Mowgli. I'm not sure what happened there, whether Mowgli lost traction and came off, because looking at it on paper, I think I thought he was personally further up the grid order, but unfortunately must have had an incident and has come off the track. V Preventer, incidentally, I think he's had an issue as well because he's come off the circuit as well. Noko moving up on Chafinho and has taken P5, so great driving here from Noko. Incidentally, there's a 7-second gap between him and Lucas Gambarini right now, who's just about to set his way right down the home stretch, and he's currently on his own at the moment, and currently 4.5 seconds away from Angiolosi, who's in P3. Incidentally, Chafinho coming into the pits as well, I'm guessing, to change maybe a front wing. I can't imagine the sops really dying off this early as he comes into the pits. Whether he's looking for a tyre change already, he is. He's gone for the hard tyres. No wing change there, so Chafinho opting for the hard tyres off the bat. An interesting strategy. I hope it pays off for him. But not one I've seen before, to be honest with you. But let's see if it works out for the McLaren driver. As we look further up the grid, currently the way things are going, we've got a bit of a battle here, because the Williams of Pitt is now challenging the Hun Benjamin Toro Rosso right in front of him, who's in P6. The Williams gunning all over the back of that Toro Rosso as they make their way towards the right-hand curve. They got another couple of left-hand bends now with a semi-straight in the middle. This Chinese Grand Prix has been electric so far with incidents and everything as the Williams has a dive down the inside, but Pitt not able to get anything off, with Marco currently tracking these two in the Haas as they come up towards the chicane, and Pitt already swerving all over the back of that Toro Rosso as they make their way around this swinging right-hander. and head towards the main straight. And Pitt, I'm sure, will have DRS, and he'll have a look down the inside of the Toro Rosso as they make their way down, and he lights up the DRS, makes his way around, goes extraordinarily wide as he makes his way around, and V Prevents tracking these because he's gone ahead of Marco, and Benjamin has got Pitt, the Williams, going down the outside, and Toro Rosso manages to reclaim it, and Pitt goes for that back wheel. A little bit of afters there between the two drivers. They make their way around, and the Williams trying to fight back and retake P6, and he does so. But Benjamin doesn't have the DRS, so it means that the Williams will capitalise here and hold his position as Naples dives into the pits to opt for the hard tyres as well. So everyone, it seems the popular strategy is the hard tyres. Everyone's going for that one stop, which proves to me that I'm quite surprised, actually, to be honest with you, that the hard tyre is tyre of choice, because it's not overly the most grip orientated of tyre. And around this real sharp circuit of China, where you can slide off like we've seen already so many times, these drivers surely are going to be sliding around on those hards as they come round. Now we're watching Benjamin on board at the moment, following Pitt around the left-hand bend, round another right-hander. That Williams still very much in the sights of the Toro Rosso as they make their way round towards the double left-hander, where they'll soon be taking the straight towards the chicane bend. And these two will be giving us a bit of a show here as they make their way down. V Prevents currently 2/10 away from Benjamin, and tracking these two. V Prevents with lots of bags of pace as they come around the right-hand side, and that Toro Rosso is at the mercy now of the McLaren, and surely as he makes his way around, he's going to have a chance to open up the DRS. He is right in the gearbox of that Toro Rosso as they make their way down the straight. Is it going to be P6 for V Preventer? I think it is, as they make their way down towards the hairpin bend. The McLaren taking it off the Toro Rosso, and the Haas has a diving look down. Marco going for it now as they make their way around the hairpin turn. Is it going to be a double overtake down the hairpin bend? No, it's not. The Toro Rosso holding firm on Benjamin, not letting that Haas through. And the McLaren, though, capitalising, and it means that V Preventer moves into P6, and he's back in contention with the top 6 drivers here at this Chinese Grand Prix. And looking further down, Chifino has managed to overtake his challenger, which is Gabo Massa, but these two aren't finished yet as they make their way round the final bend. Chifino only with 8% ERS, and surely Gabo Massa with his 68% is able to whack in the overtake mode and come down the straight, heading towards turn 1. And no, he's not going to make this overtake happen as they make their way around. It's nitty gritty here as they make their way around the first corner, first, second and third bends. But Chifino still holding his position there in P11. But it looks like that gap's increasing. Chifino holding his ground by about half a second here. We're in lap 9 of 28 here at this Chinese Grand Prix. And already we're seeing lots of action. Lucas Gambarini incidentally having the race of his life right now. He's currently P3 in this race and gaining on Angiolozzi. So a big race today from Lucas Gambarini, who we haven't seen much of in the first couple of races, but already he's proving to be having a far better performance this week than what he had last week and even the week before. And currently at the moment, Lucas Gambarini only notched together a point in the championship, has a chance here of really scooping up some serious points for Renault here. And I'm sure that'll be on the top of his wish list at the moment as he makes his way around the bend and moves up into P2 because Angiolozzi pits for, I believe, a tyre change. And whether that be an ego to the hards as well. A very strange tyre choice here in lap 10. I would have thought he would have wanted to stay out longer and go for the soft option. As Noku pits as well, and I believe he'll be going for the... I think he's going for the medium tyre, and I think he might have a stop-go penalty, I think. Because he hasn't left the pit lane yet, and he does so. He leaves the pit lane. And we got a battle here between Chifino and Gabo Master as they make their way around the right-hand side. The Haas driver gutting it here, and they're going too wide here as they come round these bends. They haven't separated just as yet as they come around the next bend. Who's going to be on top? And it's the McLaren of Chifino who takes it up into P10. Great effort there from the McLaren driver, moving up a place, and is finally in the points as it stands because V Preventer is in P3. So McLaren both in the points, as well as the two Alfa Romeos who are opting in for P8 and 9. The two Toro Rossos in P6 and 7. So those are the only teams with the double the points here. So good effort from them. as we move into lap 10 of 28. 18 laps remaining, or 19 laps should I say, here in this Chinese Grand Prix here at Shanghai. Like I said, lots of action expected here, and they haven't disappointed as Marco moves up here into P4 after that overtake there at the hairpin bend, and Pitt moves down to P5. Obviously, Pitt, the collateral damage here, both of them on similar tyre lives at the moment on the mediums as they make their way around the final bend there. Marco in P4 really striking an impression here late here in lap, well, now beginning to start lap 11, and Marco instead he moves up into P3. P2, sorry, and Pitt moves up to P3 because IM2 Kono, who's just come out, the original race leader, who's technically now the net leader of this race because he's already pitted and the drivers ahead of him haven't, and IM2 Kono also opted for those hard tyres, so there must be, that must be the strategy in mind, as going off wide there was Marco NC, and he's cost himself big time because IM2 Kono and Pitt have now dropped back, well, have now overtaken him, but Marco's dropped back now, and that allows IM2 Kono to snatch back P2, so all he has to worry about now is V Provenza, who's ahead of him and still yet to pit, so this is a great opportunity here for IM2 Kono to strike his authority on the race as DJ Mowgli nails the fastest lap of the race with a 1 minute 36 there. I think it was a 0.2 seconds, so well done him for doing that, especially given that he's on I believe he's on 4-lap old medium, so good effort from him to do that. As we watch IM2 Kono now making his way towards the sweeping right-hander, and he'll soon be faced with this straight. And you can see just ahead V Provenza there. That gap is looking ever so slim as they make their way down towards the hairpin bend. I'm sure those tyres of V Provenza must be screaming at the moment because they're on 10 laps. And this track here at China can certainly eat at your tyre life. As we watch IM2 Kono now make his way around towards the final corner before the home straight. And that gap has now decreased down to 2.8 seconds here for the Mercedes. So very, very soon he'll be riding on the gearbox of the McLaren at this rate. So it must be time for V Provenza to pit. No doubt, I can imagine him going for the soft tyres, so which means we could be in for an interesting end to this Grand Prix as Angiolozzi goes with a 1:36.2 on the hard tyres. So Angiolozzi really showing some pace here, and he's only 1.8 seconds behind Naples as Lucas Gambarini moves into P7, overtaking the likes of Un Benjamin, who has just pitted onto the hard tyres. Lucas Gambarini is also himself only recently pitted after only sustaining 1 lap on those hard tyres. And I'm sure it won't be long before he starts fighting his battle out here on the field ahead of him. Remember, we got 3 drivers here in the top 5 that have not pitted yet in this race. All 3 of them are still currently nursing 11-lap old mediums, including V Provenza. Incidentally, IM2 Kono again slashing that gap between him and the McLaren down to 2.2 seconds. So he's making astronomical time as he makes his way around. You can see V Provenza coming around that right arm bend. In fact, you can see him in the camera of IM2 Kono at the moment, so he's in eye shot right now, and the Silver Arrows will surely be gaining on him right now, and that gap is slashing even more because we're now in the 1.8 second gap, so that time is being chipped at like a lumberjack in a rainforest as they make their way down. And Pitt also coming to view. He's on that straight. As things stand, as IM2 Kono comes out of it, you can see V Provenza getting closer to the front of that Silver Arrows, and surely he must be looking to pit now very, very soon. No, he doesn't, not this time. He must be waiting a little bit longer to maybe opt for the soft tyres later on in the race, so he's really making a bold effort to try and stay in front of this Silver Arrows that's really starting to gun for him right now as we watch Pitt now dropping back to P6. Angiolozzi, incidentally, managing to move up into P5, and he's got Marco right ahead of him as they make their way around turn 1, and they'll soon be met with turn 2 now very, very short. We've got turns 2 and 3, and Angiolozzi's got Marco and Naples ahead of him, so you're in store for a very, very interesting battle as Angiolozzi goes out wide looking for an overtake there on Marco in the Haas as they make their way towards the right-hand curve bend. Is he going to do it on the outside of the American Haas car as they come around the outside now? It looks like he's got the advantage as they come around, and Angiolozzi takes P4. One overtake there from the Alfa Romeo, snatching it away from the Haas driver and increases his advantage here on those 3-lap old hards, and now goes to gun for the Toro Rosso of Naples as Lucas Gambarini moves ahead of Pitt here at the, well, towards the time of Sector 2 actually. And they're making their way around the next couple of left-hand bends, soon to be met with the chicane as Pitt goes extraordinarily wide there off that circuit, losing obviously a little bit of grip around that bend. And just looking through the grid order now as Angiolosi starts surging up on Naples. He'll have the DRS now. Surely this is going to be easy prey for him as he comes around the outside. And yes, it is. The Alfa Romeo rinsing down the outside of the Toro Rosso. What a recovery drive this is for Angiolosi on the hard tyres. And we could be having a three-way battle between the top three drivers in this championship. If you consider the fact that Seb isn't in this race, neither's Troger or Silver, who's actually DNF'd already in the race. You've got V Provenza, Angiolosi, and IM2 Kono currently all within 8 seconds of each other. That's going to make a very fascinating encounter towards the end of the race, certainly with Angiolosi being on 4-lap old hards, and V Provenza still yet to pit. We're going to be in for a real tasty finale here at this Grand Prix as they make their way around the circuit here. Pit, incidentally, down in P9. And unfortunately, it's rinsing in his times as the Alfa Romeo of Cabby had to look down the inside of Trifino. A little bit of bashing there as they make their way around the bend there. A little bit of afters as they come round. And the Alfa Romeo surging up round the outside of Trifino. And he takes P7 away from the Trifino there, who now drops back to P8 as he makes his way around. And Trifino, what a defensive move! Retakes P7 now and drives the Alfa Romeo off the circuit. Great defending, to be fair. I mean, obviously, didn't anticipate that much touching to be happening during that to re-overtake from Trevino, but great defensive moves from him. He's now up to P7, so McLaren currently in Ps2 and 7 here in this Grand Prix. And incidentally, like before, like we saw with IM2 Kono after he was chasing down V Provenza, Angiolosi has managed to chop down that gap between him and the McLaren driver to no less than 6.2 seconds. So making incredible time here is that Alfa Romeo. Incidentally, Naples not far behind the Alfa, and surely will be gaining on V Provenza as well. So surely V Provenza has a target on his back here as they make their way around towards the start of will be P15. As they come around, because IM2 Kono is already out on circuit ahead of them. And we're already past the halfway point here in this Chinese Grand Prix. As we watch Angiolosi come round the early stages of Sector 1, round the very twisting section. To be fair, there's everything about the Chinese track is a twisty section, bar the straights, of course. But these drivers proving that they've got nerves of steel as they make their way around these bends. I'm sure they're thanking their lucky stars that it wasn't a wet race, because that would have thrown up a hell of a lot of incidents, especially after what we saw in qualifying. As Gabo Masters sets the fastest lap of the race on soft tyres, obviously looking just to get the fastest lap in this race on those 2-lap-old softs. I can't see him having that much competition given the way the strategy seems to be going in this race. A lot of drivers opting for the hards. Though it looks like we've got a few drivers opting for the 2-stop. But as they make their way around now, Angiolosi chopping away at that time between him and V Provenza. Instead, just looking further back, the Dark Champion. He's got Noko ahead of him. That gap is only a second. It's been as close as 5/10 in the past. So that racing point, I think, is going to struggle with the likes of the Ferrari currently surging upon him now. And incidentally, there's another racing point in behind the Dark Champion as the racing point of Noko goes extremely wide there. A few drivers seem to be catching that very wide. In this race. They make their way around the chicane now, heading towards the sweeping right-hander. And the racing point of Noko here, coming under extreme pressure here from the Dark Champion in the prancing horse of the Ferrari. And surely coming down the straight, he's going to have his chance here with DRS currently loading up as we speak as he comes across the line and punches it. What's it going to be here? Is the prancing horse going to strike here as they come up towards the hairpin bend? Is the Ferrari going to take it? I believe he does. And he's going to take it. Easy prey here, but he breaks a little early. And surely a defensive manoeuvre stops the racing point from re-overtaking him. The Ferrari moves up into P10, and in the points comes the Dark Champion. What racing from these lot as Hun Benjamin moves into P8 after Cabby pits, which will mean, I think, that the Dark Champion will also move up a place as well as the 2 racing points. And I'd imagine Gabo Master as well as Marco Lomi moving above them as well. So lots of movement here in the classifications once again. IM2 Kono, incidentally, increasing the gap between him and V Provenza to that of 3.8 seconds. So phenomenal racing from IM2 Kono, and surely, if he can maintain this speed, he technically has the race in the bag. That's depending on what happens with V Provenza, surely with his tyre stop, because he's no doubt he's going to be opting for all the soft tyres later on in this race, and I'd imagine in the next 2 laps, he will be looking to pit and make that tyre change. But the question is, can he hold off Angiolosi as the wet weather, I believe that's rain, is about to come down, and surely that could upset the strategy here, given by a lot of these drivers. V Preventer might have pulled off a bit of a flyer here as they come around the hard tyre. Not going to be the ideal tyre to drive around this circuit if it gets extremely wet. We'll keep you informed of what the weather conditions are going to be like here at the Chinese Grand Prix as we come into lap 17 of 28. And I'm Tucono still leading the way, but looking further down, DJ Mowgli coming onto the back of the Dark Champion as they head down the back straight. The Ferrari being loomed up on by the Pink Panther as the DRS loads up, and he's already fired as they made their way down now the racing point, going down the inside here at the hairpin bend. Will the Ferrari get the cut back? I think he might as they come round, and they're going wheel to wheel here towards the final bend, but I think the racing point might have him as they come round. The Ferrari opting for the pits. No, they've come off! They've come off! The Dark Champion moving into the pit lane, the racing point spinning on the bend and causing him to lose a lot of traction and pace, and therefore loses its position as the Gabo Master moves up into P10 and is now riding on the rear of Noko, who's in the other racing point. As the wet weather begins to come down, this is going to upset a lot of tyre strategies. The Dark Champion already opting for the intermediates. A very smart move, I think, because the rain looks like it's getting harder here in the race so far. Looking further up the grid, it looks like V Preventer incidentally is making a move here on the Alfa Romeo of the McLaren of V Preventer, and Angiolozzi moves up into P2, but the wet weather, you can see it starting to litter the track with wet puddles here, and Gabo Massa moving up as well. It'll be interesting to see whether V Preventer moves into the pits now and goes for the intermediates, because it might be the move of the race if he can pull it off. We'll just stay with him now as he makes his way. Yes, he does indeed pit. He's got a puncture, in fact. The man's got a puncture, so what timing to find the pit lane the way he did. We've very rarely seen punches in the Codemasters game as he makes his way through now. Amazing how he didn't spin off, because with the wet weather and a puncture, not a good combination, certainly around a track like China, as V Preventer comes in the pits and he does opt for the intermediate. So what's that going to mean for the race and the drivers ahead? Because that's going to throw a lot of strategies off sync, really. As Marco moves up into a place, Naples moves up into P3. And you've got to question what these drivers are going to do now here in the latter stage of this Grand Prix. We've still got 10 laps remaining. And if the wet weather continues to fall, we could be seeing a lot of upset drivers, because the traction around this track will slowly become a lot less. And I can imagine Marco starting to feel the pressure as he makes his way around this sweeping left-hander, because he's got 17 lap-old mediums on, and the degradation is going to start to make those medium tyres feel like ice skates as he comes round the bend. As you can see, he's being overly cautious there, going for low gear changes as he tries to find his way around the circuit here, heading towards the short straight towards the next chicane. And Marco trying to hold firm on the circuit here, but just looking further down, V Preventer incidentally has opted for those intermediates. To be interested to see whether that'll be the move of the race so far. Depending on whether we'll see more wet weather, that'll be the question. I'm sure V Preventer now is hoping for a storm cloud now as they make their way towards the next chicane. Incidentally, behind V Preventer, Hun Benjamin on the fresh hard tyres makes a move, and what a move there! Chopping down the inside of the McLaren. Obviously the McLaren struggling with traction. I think given now these are fresh intermediates, given that the weather hasn't come down as quickly as he'd like, but you can see it dripping down now. Though it might be a little bit too late for the wet weather to really allow these intermediates to take effect as he makes his way down the straight. He's being very cautious on the power and braking a little earlier here as he makes his way down towards the bends. You can see the traction not easy on those intermediates. Looking further at the track load, Lucas Gambarini coming out of nowhere here on the back of Marco. And naturally, Marco is a sitting duck here on those 18 lap-old mediums. And surely, Lucas Gambarini in the Renault looking to stake his claim for further points here as they make their way down towards the latter stages of Sector 1 here as they come round the next stiff right-hander as they move into Sector 2, and Marco NC still holding his own in P4. In behind him, the Renault of Lucas Gambarini in P5, only 6/10 off the Haas driver as they make their way around the winding section of the circuit. This can very much throw you out off track if you're not very careful on the power or under braking as they come around the next left-hander, heading towards the short straight towards the next chicane. And Marco is currently a sitting duck, like I said before, for this Renault driver. And surely Lucas has got bad intentions on his mind to overtake this Haas driver here on the main straight as they make their way around this swooping right-hander. Marco getting a real dogged exit there, and he has lost a lot of pace as they head down towards the straight. Lucas riding on the slipstream of that Haas driver now. Are we going to see an overtake as he opens up the DRS here on the straight, and the Renault diving down the inside of the Haas driver as they come up towards the hairpin bend, and he does so, closes the door on the Haas driver. Great driving from Lucas Gambrini. He moves up into P4, and a great opportunity here for him to manage to collect some points here in this race, as V Provenza, who's having a nightmare on those inters, is dropping down exponentially down the field. And obviously those inters aren't taking effect that he desired, and he's dropped down to P12 as Pitt has managed to overtake him incidentally, but whether these tyres can come into effect sooner rather than later just to help V Provenza out is the question right now. Looking though, IM2 Kona, that gap between him and Angiolosi is closed in a bit because it's now only 4.5 seconds separating these two. So these two are your leaders so far, both of them on reasonably same age old hard tyres. They come round towards the double left-hander now with Angiolosi in P2. Naples in P3, who's done well to resurface back into those top 3 spots. Lucas Gambrini having a hell of a race here, fighting into the points here in P4. Marco, who is 2 seconds behind, I've got a feeling he might have skidded off because already that gap between him and Lucas has extended to 2.5 seconds. So those tyres really not doing him any favours right now. Chafinio, incidentally, moving up into the field as well. He's on 13-lap old hards, and surely they'll be putting up a better performance ratio than what those medium tyres of Marco's are doing right now, because they're on 19 laps and surely can't take much more of this wet weather surface as they make their way around the sweeping right-hander. We're watching Chafinio now. We can ride on board with him, in fact, as he makes his way around this bend. These drivers being very cautious given the rain that's now falling here on the circuit here at China. And incidentally, Disconnected is right down the bottom as well. I'm not sure what's happened to him, but he's in the pits right now. I don't think, actually, he's left the session, or whether he has left the session. Just looking further down the grid, I'm just seeing the Dark Champion's in the pits. I think he'll be looking, he's actually on the soft tyres, which is a very perplexing tyre choice given the wet weather. I would have thought he would have gone for the inters at this point in time, as Marco Lomi also goes to the soft tyres. So obviously these guys not happy with the conditions here, and V Provenza has opted for the softs as well. It might have been a case of too little too late here for the McLaren driver. V Provenza in P13. Unfortunately, at this rate, will be out the points if he can't close the gap on Cabby, Pitt and Noco here. But looking further down, Gabo Master has made it into P7 on those softs. Marco, his teammate, has pitted onto fresher soft tyres though, and will soon be riding on the back of Gabo Master. But looking further up, it's a hard tyre contingent up front with IM2 Kono still leading the way, but that gap between him and Angiolosi is now shortened to 2.5 seconds. So already we're seeing 2 seconds shaving off that time. So Angiolosi getting ever closer, which means we could be up for a bit of a battle here towards the end of this race. As we see V Provenza move up to P12 here already on those soft tyres. They head down towards, as Angiolosi heads down towards the hairpin bend. You can see IM2 Kono just exiting the corner there. And they'll be making their way around to start lap 22 of 28. So we're very much coming closer towards the end of this Chinese Grand Prix. I hope you guys have all been enjoying yourselves in the stream. Please leave your comments as to who you think is going to win this Grand Prix here this evening as we follow Angiolosi come round the first bend here at China. And surely looking to close that gap even more to IM2 Kono, the current world champion. But will he have enough time to do it? I'm sure he will, given the amount of time he's shaving off already between him and the race leader. Naples still in P3 as well, but that gap is increasing between him and IM2 Kono. About 12.5 seconds between those two right now. And there's another gap then to Lucas Gambrini, who's over 13.2 seconds behind. Naples, incidentally, 7.7 seconds behind IM2 Kono. Angiolosi, incidentally, I think we've had a bit of an issue here. I think we've had an issue because Angiolosi's moved up in P1. I'm not sure what's happened. I must have missed that, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologise. But IM2 Kono has dropped back to P2 and he must have had an incident or something in this wet weather conditions. And he's sliding a bit all over the track. So surely it might have been a bad time for V Provenza to change onto the softs, because now we're seeing the effects of the wet weather, I think. Because IM2 Kono starting to slide around on the circuit on those hard tyres. Angiolosi also trying to keep his car on the track as best as possible. Trying to go for early gear changes and hold his own here on this circuit, because obviously It's like an ice rink out there at this moment in time here in lap 28 of 22 of 28, sorry. And I can't imagine what Marco's feeling on the softs as he makes his way around this swinging right-hander. He's got Hunt Benjamin behind him right now. I got to say, he's looking a lot more comfortable on these hard tyres than what Marco is right now. And that could throw a bit of a spanner in the works. As V Provenza are also struggling right now. I bet he's kicking himself after that tyre change. Probably would have kept the intermediates on had he known. But nonetheless, what's done is done. He's 9.6 seconds away from Cabby right now. Cabby, who's only just over half a second behind Noku. And they're coming down towards the chicane now. With the racing points still ahead of him, but that gap is shrinking. And Cabby riding on the back of Noku right now, who's got 12-lap old medium tyres on against Cabby's 6-lap old hards. And Noku riding extremely wide there as the DRS becomes active here for the Alfa Romeo as he comes up. Cabby looking to gain some traction here on Noku as they make their way towards the hairpin bend. And he goes for the, doesn't go for the overtake this time, but Kanoko going a bit wide there, and he might have scuppered himself as they come round towards the small straight, heading towards the final bend here in lap 22, heading into 23. And Noku diving into the pit lane, no doubt looking for those intermediate tyres. We watch Cabby come down the main straight here, and he's now in P9, so maybe he's going to try and see it out on these 7-lap old hards. As we see V Provenza go above Noku. But for how long will that be, depending on what tyre option Noku goes for? No, Noku going for the fresh soft tyres. I can see a lot of water on the track, though. There is a lot of reflective surface coming along that circuit. So you would have thought there's quite a bit of wet weather, or a few puddles there, certainly, for these drivers to get caught up on. Just looking further up, I am Tsukono, drawing closer towards Angiolozzi. That gap is now only 2.5 seconds. So not a lot between the two now. And we very much could be seeing a final battle here at the final few laps here of the Chinese Grand Prix as they start lap 24 of 28. 4 laps remaining here at the Chinese Grand Prix. Who's going to win it? Angiolozzi still holding his own. I am Tsukono P2, Naples P3. 10 seconds behind I am Tsukono right now. Lucas Gambarini in P4 having a great race so far. Chiafino currently in P5 for McLaren with 6.5 seconds separating him and Lucas. Marco NC in P6. DJ Mowgli P7. Hunt Benjamin P8. Cabby in P9. V Provenza P10 closing up on Cabby right now on those fresh soft tyres. Well, those 3-lap old soft tyres, should I say, as he makes his way down towards the hairpin bend. The McLaren of V Provenza now back in the points, and surely looking yet to strike more of an impression on this race. As we see Cabby there, who must have lost a bit of shape because he went extremely wide out of the hairpin. And it looks like the McLaren might have a chance to overtake him here because the DRS now becomes active, and surely Cabby's a sitting duck as they come up towards the first corner here of the China circuit here at Singapore. Coming around the first bend. Is he going to dive past Cabby? No, not yet. No, he does so. He's having a little look down the outside as they make their way around turn 1. That McLaren getting ever closer to the side of that Alfa as they make their way around the circuit. He forces his way through. The McLaren overtaking Cabby there and taking P9 here at the Singapore circuit. And it's going to be V Provenza in P9. Cabby P10. Very much in the points now with V Provenza, and is gunning now for Hunt Benjamin, who's on 12-lap old hards. Is he going to be able to catch him, though? That is the question. We've got 4 laps remaining here at the Singapore circuit with Angiolozzi still in front here, but only by a 2.5 second gap, or 2.3 second gap between him and I am Tsukono, who's in P2. The Dark Champion given a 3-second time penalty. I'm not sure what the penalty situation is right now, but I'm sure that'll play a major factor in towards the end of this race. We are in lap 25 of 28 here at the Singapore Grand Prix. And Angiolozzi still holding his own for Alfa Romeo there. 2.5 seconds separate him and I am Tsukono in the Silver Arrows in P2. Naples in P3, still 11 seconds separate him and the Silver Arrows of I am Tsukono in P2. Lucas Gambarini P4. Chiafino hasn't managed to get any closer on his gap between him and Lucas Gambarini. Marco in P6. DJ Mowgli in P7. And Hunt Benjamin and V Provenza will soon be battling it out together very soon, because V Provenza is starting to chip away at that time gap, because you can see now Hunt Benjamin in the distance ahead of that McLaren. So surely with the laps we have left remaining, these two can still fight it out here. And incidentally, Vipravenza having a great recovery drive here through the latter stages of this Grand Prix as he comes up over the line, heading towards turn 1. Is the McLaren going to be able to catch the Toro Rosso? I think he will as he makes his way around towards turns 1, 2 and 3. The winding section of Sector 1, where you've got to be really careful under braking and on the power because you don't want to hit too much curb and put the power on because you will spin and lose traction as he powers out of the corner. Hunt Benjamin getting ever closer to Vipravenza. That gap is now only a second separating these two as they come around towards the next right-hand bend. The Toro Rosso trying to hold on to P8, but I don't think he will because that McLaren is getting very, very close to the gearbox of that Toro Rosso as they make their way around the tricky left sweeping bend and losing a bit of grip there is Vipravenza as he makes his way around this circuit, comes around a sweeping right-hander, and it's him and Hunt Benjamin that will soon be battling it out here as they go around the double left-hander, which will lead them towards the semi-straight towards the next chicane. And you can see there DJ Mowgli in P7 just ahead of them as well, so Vipravenza could very well find himself in P7 of this Grand Prix. And he's riding well on the gearbox and he overtakes here. And sorry, ladies and gentlemen, as we make their way round towards the straight. And that Toro Rosso going extremely wide. And Vipravenza moves into P8 there for McLaren. An excellent move there from the McLaren driver, the British constructor. Yet again, proving to be one of the dominant forces here in motorsport. Coming down towards the final hairpin of this lap 20. Well, this will be lap 27 of this Grand Prix. Sorry, lap 25 of this Grand Prix, heading into lap 26. And we'll very soon be counting down to the final few laps of this Grand Prix here at China. It's been an absolutely enthralling watch. The rain continues to fall here at the Shanghai circuit. And these drivers have done extremely well to maintain their softer compounds here on this wet weather track, which can't be easy, I've got to say, as we watch Vipravenza making his way around turn 1 and turn 2 and turn 3. And he begins to draw up now upon DJ Mowgli. Can he catch him before the end of this race? Only 3.5 seconds to find for the McLaren driver, and that gap is getting ever smaller. Just looking further down, we have a battle here between the Haas of Gabo Master and Cabby, but Cabby holding firm, but the Haas driver's still not gone away just yet. Cabby on 10-lap-old hards, Gabo on 4-lap-old softs as they make their way down towards the next right-hand bend. What's it going to be as he comes round? Cabby still holding firm, but the Haas of Gabo might have had the better exit as they make their way around towards the next sweeping left-hander. As they do so, I've got to say that Alpha's getting ever closer to the Haas of Gabo Master as they make their way around the next right-hander. And that Haas going for a storming run round the outside. The Haas driver taking P10, gets back in the points. What a drive there from Gabo Master to get his car back into the point section of this classification here at the Singapore Grand Prix. Great driving from him. He is now 6.5 seconds behind Hunt Benjamin. Can he close the gap on those 4-lap-old softs? Let's see what he can do. As we look further up, Vipravenza already closing the gap here on DJ Mowgli. DRS, I believe, has become is not active anymore as they come around towards their pin bend. He might have taken a bit hot there as the racing point broke a little early, coming towards that hairpin bend. And DJ Mowgli is now under pressure here from Vipravenza as they come around the final bend. Is it going to be McLaren stay here once again as he overtakes him here on the home stretch? He has DRS. Sorry, the DRS is not deactivated. It's still active. And the McLaren now coming up as they make their way towards turn 1. Is he going to be able to take it on the sweeping bend? Yes, he will. Yes, he will. DJ Mowgli not able to capitalise here. And the McLaren on the 7-lap-old softs manages to get past DJ Mowgli, who's managed to lap 20-lap or mediums on this wet weather track. So props to him for maintaining those tyres around this circuit. And it's done extremely well to keep the car on the track. We are in lap 27 of 28. And incidentally, the time gap between IM2 Kono and Angiolozzi is really short now. It's only 2 seconds. And we could yet see a decider here in the last lap of this Grand Prix here. We are now in lap 27, but they're about to start the final lap here of the Singapore Grand Prix here at China. And surely we're going to be in for a very, very blitzing final lap here, because that gap between IM2 Kono, the world champion here at Spec Esports, sorry, is now decreasing that gap down to 1.8 seconds. So surely the Mercedes is going to be looking to stamp its authority upon Angiolozzi and the Alfa Romeo as they come round turns 1, 2 and 3. I Am 2 Kono can see that Alfa Romeo of Angiolosi just ahead of him now, and surely will eat away at that time gap between the two as they come down towards the next left-hander. Angiolosi trying to hold firm there in the Alfa, but still he can see the silver arrows still in his visor as they make their way around the sweeping left-hander. Who will take it the better? It's all a question of who takes these corners more efficiently around this final lap here at this circuit. The Singapore circuit, known to throw drivers out of place here, certainly given the sharp bends that these drivers have had to undertake. It takes a lot of skill to manipulate a car to go around a track like this. They come round towards the next chicane, and the final time they'll be taking the chicane here at the Chinese circuit. And the Alfa Romeo only separated by 1.6 seconds. Will I Am 2 Kono get DRS here going into the final bend? I don't think he will, as they come round towards the last time on this stretch, and he's only got 6% ERS, whereas Angiolosi has also only got 3%, so these two very much on level terms as they come around the bend. How's Angiolosi going to take this hairpin bend as he comes round? You can see the Mercedes of I Am 2 Kono there in the background as they come round, and Angiolosi still holding P1, but the silver arrows still very much behind him as they come around the final bend. Angiolosi in the Alfa Romeo is going to win here at China, and surely, as Angiolosi comes across the line, takes it! I Am 2 Kono! I Am 2 Kono takes it right across. He got a better exit and managed to take P1 here in the Chinese Grand Prix. Unbelievable. Where did he find that pace from? Absolutely unreal. The Mercedes topped the bill. The world champion strikes again. I Am 2 Kono taking P1. And the Mercedes team once again celebrating here at China. And not only did they do the double with Hamilton and Bottas last season, they've now managed to put an esports driver on P1 here, with I Am 2 Kono taking top spot here at China at this Grand Prix. Absolutely phenomenal to the way to win a Grand Prix. I've never seen anything like that in my life. And Angiolosi will take P2 here for Alfa Romeo, looking for the down. Naples finishes P3. Lucas Gambarini in P4. What a race from Lucas Gambarini. He's got to be happy with that result. Schiaffino finishing P5 for McLaren. He's got to be happy with that as well. Marco NC for Haas, managing to take himself round despite the many stop strategies he had into P6. V Provenza, what a comeback from the McLaren driver. It didn't quite work out for him on the intermediates, but he made it work on the softs, notching together, rising up the grid positions from P13 when he came out of the pit lane into P7. He'll be well chuffed with that. We'll go through the full classifications now at the end of the race, but what an absolute contest we had here. Phenomenal driving from these from this slot, and they have every right to be extremely proud of themselves. On the top step goes I Am 2 Kono, last year's world champion, our current world champion, wins here at the Chinese Grand Prix and takes the plaudits. What a race here from these lot. A phenomenal driving. Here are your final classifications for the race here this evening at Race Spec Esports. I Am 2 Kono takes P1 here for Mercedes. Again, getting much needed points here for his championship standings boost. Angiolosi in P2, Naples P3, Lucas Gambarini P4, Schiaffino P5, Marco NC P6, V Provenza P7, DJ Mowgli managing to take those 21 lap old mediums around the circuit to get P8 in the points, and Benjamin P9, Gabo Master P10, 11 for Cabby, 12 for Noko, the Dow champion P13, Pitt in P14, Marco Lomi P15, unfortunately Silver, the only DNF in this race. The man who came second last week, unfortunately DNF in this week, but he'll come back stronger next week without a doubt. And I'm sure we'll be looking to stamp his authority on this field as well as a few others here in this World Championship. Absolutely phenomenal racing here this evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank everybody for being here and watching the stream here tonight. And I'm sure if you would please drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Your support is always welcome here at Race Spec Esports. I'm hoping I'll see you next week for more racing. Next week will be Baku, the Azerbaijan street circuit. Look forward to seeing you then. But for me, George Morgan, it's been a pleasure. Good night.